Imagine a moment where literally every last ounce of worldly hope has just faded away. Your body's failing, your bones are frail, your hair's turned completely white with time, and you're just surrounded by the sheer darkness of impossibility. It's a situation where normal, everyday logic tells you just give up. But what if, in that very darkest second, a single miraculous ray of hope pierced through and completely changed the course of history? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a breathtaking narrative straight from the Quran. It's a story about how absolute despair was just shattered by perfect faith. We're looking at the incredible life, the steadfast devotion, and the astonishing legacy of Prophet Zakariya, peace be upon him. Let's get right into it.
Have you ever felt completely hopeless? Seriously, think about that for a second. We all face modern struggles that just feel insurmountable, right? Obstacles that make us want to throw our hands up in defeat. Now, I want you to project that exact feeling onto an aging, frail prophet of God. Zachariah was an elder whose physical strength had all but evaporated. His wife was barren, and they were in the twilight of their lives. From a purely biological, earthly standpoint, his deepest wish for an heir was an absolute closed-door impossibility. No way it was happening. But, as we're going to see, divine arithmetic works very differently than human logic.
So to really understand this miracle, we first have to understand the man himself. According to historical and Quranic commentators, Prophet Zakariya's lineage traces all the way back to Prophet Sulaiman, peace be upon him. But he wasn't just a prophet. He was the devoted caretaker, the ultimate guardian of Bayt al-Maqdis, the holy sanctuary in Jerusalem. Day and night, this man's life was completely dedicated to the worship of Allah, the betterment of his community, and the tireless uplifting of his faith. He was, quite literally, the anchor of this sacred space. And do you know what makes him truly fascinating? It's his profound humility. Despite his incredibly high spiritual rank as a prophet and the chief guardian of the sanctuary, he didn't rely on the community's wealth to survive. It's actually a beautiful tradition of the prophets to never be a burden on their people. According to a highly authentic narration in Sahih Muslim, Prophet Zakariya was a carpenter. He worked with wood. He sweated, he labored, and he earned his daily bread through the honest, halal work of his very own hands. It really goes to show us that true spiritual greatness is deeply, deeply connected to humility and hard work. Now, this humility brings us to a really beautiful chapter in his life, his guardianship of Maryam, or Mary, peace be upon her. When Maryam's mother dedicated her unborn child to the service of the sanctuary, it was Zakariya who was chosen by divine lot to be her caretaker. He provided her with a special, secluded chamber in the sanctuary known as the mihrab. But then, something extraordinary started happening. Surah Al-Imran, verse 37, tells us that whenever Zakariya entered the sanctuary to check on her, he found provision with her. And commentators note that he would find summer fruits in the dead of winter and winter fruits in the peak of summer. Completely out-of-season, impossible provisions just sitting there. Naturally, he's totally astonished. He asks her, "Oh, Maryam, from where is this?" And her profound, unshakable answer acts as the ultimate catalyst for this entire story we're looking at today. She simply replies, "It is from Allah. Indeed, Allah provides for whom He wills without account." Without measure, literally without limits. Imagine being Zakariya in that moment. Hearing this pure, innocent affirmation of Allah's limitless power from a young Maryam, it struck a chord deep, deep within his heart. It awakened this hidden, lifelong longing that he had practically buried beneath his old age. This brilliant moment perfectly illustrates the crossroads he found himself at. On the one hand, you have his worldly reality, old age, brittle bones, a wife who had been barren her entire life, essentially a biological dead end. But on the other hand, he has just witnessed physical, undeniable proof of divine capability. Think about it. If Allah can provide out-of-season fruits to Maryam in a locked room, completely defying the laws of nature, then surely Allah can provide a child to an old man and a barren woman. The limitations of this world, they simply don't apply to the creator of this world. So, filled with this renewed, electrifying certainty, Zakariya didn't go make a public spectacle. He retreated. The Quran in Surah Maryam verse 3 paints this breathtakingly intimate picture. When he called out to his Lord in a secret, vulnerable prayer. In the depths of the night, entirely cut off from the noise of the world, alone in the mihrab, he cried out to his Lord. This wasn't just some casual request. No, this was a desperate, hushed, deeply emotional plea from a man pouring out the absolute last drops of his soul to his creator. Listen to the incredible sincerity of this prayer as documented in Surah Maryam. He begins by acknowledging his immense physical weakness. He says his bones are frail, his head is aflame with white hair. Yet he immediately affirms his absolute faith, stating he has never ever been disappointed in his prayers to Allah. But here's the absolutely crucial part. His fear wasn't about who would inherit his carpentry tools or his worldly bank account. He says, "I fear for my relatives after me," meaning he feared for the deen, the religion itself. He saw corruption creeping into the Israelites and was terrified that without a righteous, capable leader, the sanctuary and the faith of his people would just collapse. He wanted an heir for the sake of Allah, not for his own ego. Well, when sincerity of that magnitude reaches the heavens, the response is immediate. He was literally still standing in the mihrab, still in the middle of his prayer, when the angels called out to him. Surah Al-Imran, verse 39, captures this incredible triumphant climax. Indeed, Allah gives you good tidings of Yahya. Not only is Allah granting him a son, against all biological odds, but Allah himself is naming the child. The name Yahya, which means he who lives, was completely unique. The Quran even notes that no one had ever been given this name before. A miraculous child destined to be a noble, chaste prophet himself. The sequence of what happens next is just breathtaking. Zakariya is so overwhelmed with shock and joy that he asks Allah for a sign. And Allah tells him his sign will be that despite being perfectly healthy, he will be unable to speak to people for 3 whole days, except by gestures. Why? Because this was a brutal yet beautiful symbolic fasting of the tongue. Allah was ensuring that for those 3 days, Zakariya's tongue would be exclusively dedicated to zikr, the remembrance and immense gratitude of Allah, completely untainted by everyday worldly conversations. Now, if this were a fairy tale, the story would end right here, with a classic happily ever after. But the lives of the prophets are marked by relentless trials and supreme sacrifices. Let's fast forward in time a bit. The situation among the Israelites severely deteriorated. They rebelled, they began to turn against their prophets, committing horrific acts of violence against the very men trying to guide them. And Prophet Zakariya, after an entire lifetime of serving them, found himself becoming the target of their brutal oppression. As detailed in historical and tafsir texts by renowned scholars like Imam Ibn Kathir in his profound work Al-Bidayah Yawa al-Nihaya, the end of Zakariya's earthly life was an ultimate testament to his unbreakable faith. The narrations recount that as he was being violently pursued by his oppressors, he sought refuge near a tree. By a miracle, the tree split open to shelter him. However, his pursuers discovered his location. In a truly heart-wrenching display of cruelty, they sawed the tree in half, and the noble prophet Zakariya along with it. It is a deeply agonizing conclusion for sure, but we have to completely reframe how we view it. The profound truth is this: ultimate success is steadfastness upon the truth, even unto death. Zakariya's martyrdom was not a defeat. Actually, scratch that. It wasn't a defeat at all. Worldly oppressors might have harmed his physical body, but they could never, ever touch his faith, his soul, or his legacy. His entire life, and indeed his death, teaches us that a true believer does not just abandon the truth because the conditions become terrifying. As we wrap up this explainer, let's distill this emotional journey into some core, actionable lessons for our own lives. First off, absolutely never despair of Allah's infinite mercy. If He can bring life from barrenness, He can certainly solve your modern anxieties. Second, elevate your prayers. Don't just pray for your own wealth or comfort. Pray like Zakariya did, with a deep, sincere concern for the betterment of your community and your faith. And finally, recognize that no situation, no matter how dark or logically impossible it seems to us, is beyond divine intervention. Just one single command from the Creator changes everything. So, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. What is the impossible thing in your life right now that perhaps only requires a secret, sincere, completely vulnerable prayer in the dark of the night? Really think about it. If you found value in this deep dive and enjoyed this explainer, please make sure to subscribe, like, and share this with your loved ones so this beautiful message can reach others. Keep learning, keep reflecting, and we'll see you in the next explainer.